And welcome to the program, and thank you for joining us. I'm Roby Brock. This month, Talk Business and Politics and the University of Arkansas Fort Smith restarted our Compass Report. It's a statewide look at the Arkansas economy with a focus on the four biggest metropolitan markets: Central, Northwest, Northeast, and Fort Smith. Kendall Ross, economist with the University of Arkansas at Fort Smith, provides analysis and commentary on the Compass Report. I caught up with him for a conversation. Joining me now, Kendall Ross. He is the executive director of the University of Arkansas Fort Smith Center for Economic Development. Kendall, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate you joining us.
You bet. Thank you so much for the invitation, Roby.
All right. Talk Business and Politics and the University of Arkansas at Fort Smith have partnered to restart our Compass Report. We are appreciative of that relationship and your participation in it, so thank you for that. For people who are unaware of what the Compass Report measures overall, give us a little bit of a 10,000-foot viewpoint on that.
Yeah, sure. So the Compass Report, I think the uniqueness of the Compass Report is the fact that we're measuring a lot of different economic indicators across the four metro areas of Arkansas. So we're looking at Central Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, Jonesboro, and then the Fort Smith metro as well. And the great thing about the Compass Report is the grading method that's used, which is the opportunity to provide a letter grade to each one of those metro areas in 8 different areas. We look at total non-farm jobs, we look at the unemployment rate, we look at building permits, we look at sales tax revenue, we look at manufacturing jobs, we look at the service sector jobs, and we look at the concentration of manufacturing jobs as well. So it's a pretty significant analysis of the state.
When you look at the overall picture of how the state is performing, and maybe in the context of how the U.S. economy is performing, kind of what do you see? Are there things happening at the national level that you see playing out in Arkansas, or do we buck the trend a little bit as a state overall?
Yeah, I think we bucked the trend a little bit. We certainly are looking strong in almost every area in Arkansas. I think you may have been the one that said sometime this week that the recession is nowhere in sight or something like that. And so I certainly hope that is true for the state of Arkansas.
All right, let's look at the different metro areas. I'm going to pitch you what they are and the letter grade, and you tell me why they have that letter grade and maybe just a takeaway or two from each market as to kind of how you see them performing. Let's start with Central Arkansas.
Okay.
It got a B+ in this latest quarterly Compass Report. What's looking good? B+ is good, is what my professors in college told me.
Absolutely.
I didn't make an A. So what's looking good in Central Arkansas?
Yeah, the unemployment rate is looking good in Central Arkansas, 2.5%. That's down March on March from 3.1%. So, we're really at near full employment rate in Central Arkansas. Growth has been really solid in the state's largest metro, for sure.
And again, that measurement is looking at how the Central Arkansas metro performed in the previous year, correct? The previous quarter.
That's correct. So the Compass Report compares quarter to quarter. So we compare quarter of 2023 to the first quarter of 2022. A C grade would be no change. A B+ would be certainly a great improvement in the economic conditions.
And so if for some reason Central Arkansas, say, had an uptick in unemployment, in the unemployment rate, they might get a D in the next Compass Report. But we'll get to that when that happens. All right, let's talk about the Fort Smith Metro. It gets an A in the Compass Report, so doing better than Central Arkansas when you compare some quarterly year-over-year numbers.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Fort Smith, I think one of the things we need to remember is that since the recession in 2008, the labor force has generally been on a downward trajectory. And so we're seeing this increase in employment rate. We're increasing increase in the labor force. So that's a really, really good sign that we have a potential economic revitalization. We see all kinds of employment opportunities in the area. Probably the biggest standout in the Fort Smith area is the manufacturing. It continues to rebound really well. It's back beyond the pre-pandemic levels. And I think the thing about the manufacturing employment, it's at the highest level in the last decade.
That's good news for sure because Fort Smith has taken its lumps on the manufacturing front. All
It
right,
has.
in the Jonesboro metro, it gets a B. I compared Jonesboro, if you were to use Aesop's fables and tell the story of the tortoise and the hare. It is the tortoise. It is slow and steady and always wins the race.
That's
Jonesboro is
exactly right.
just this model of consistency across a variety of different economic indicators. Tell me why it gets a B, which again is a good rating.
It's a really good rating. I mean, we are actually at record levels for non-farm employment in the Jonesboro area. That's great. We also have an unemployment rate that's somewhere around 2.2%. I think it was in March. That's just great. We're approaching um, record levels of unemployment rate in Jonesboro, which is really, really good. I think the thing that brought the overall Jonesboro grade down was the fact that if you look at building permit evaluations, those are beginning to decrease pretty significantly. And so that brought the overall grade down.
All right, we'll see if there's maybe a spurt in this next quarter or two that might change that trajectory. Northwest Arkansas, the favorite child that we seem to hold up in the mirror and ask everybody to love on as much as possible. I don't think I was up there a couple of days ago. I did not see money growing on trees, but I understand that there are some places where that happens. Northwest Arkansas gets an A in this latest Compass report. What do you like about what's happening in that market up there?
Well, I think record levels of employment in almost every sector. I think that's the key thing. That and the low unemployment rate. The unemployment rate was right at 2% in March. I've seen the April data, it's pushing 1.8%. That low unemployment rate is really great. So you've got really good expansion in non-farm employment. You got a lot of sectors that are seeing record high employment, super low unemployment rates. All of that together just makes for a really strong economic outlook.
And just throw you a little curveball there too. I mean, Northwest Arkansas is the one metro area of the state where we see incredible monthly population growth. I mean, and
That's right.
particularly annual growth. Although Fort Smith, Central Arkansas, Jonesboro are growing, they are not growing at near the rate. And so when you see more people coming into that labor force and that unemployment rate still continue to tick down, that to me signals some even more momentum. Am I off base on that?
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's what we're really looking at is that unemployment rate. If it just continues to stay near that 1.8, 2.0% range, that's perfect for that area.